Dark treasure. Dark treasure. Dark treasure.
Left to right, shake that booty all night. Up, down, left to right, shake that booty all night. Up, down, left to right, shake that booty all night. Up, down, left to right, shake that booty all night. You and all your friends ain't got no plans, so baby, dance tonight. You and all your
nicotine there. Oh my baby Jesus. Okay. I know what's about to happen. Wait a minute. Let me get back to where I was. Okay. Yeah, you are I'm your target. And then the bridge is about to do its thing. Okay. Without warning, the bridge lurches to one side. Yep. I got off guard. I fall. My thing snuffed out. And they're all excited. And I need to light my lantern again. When am I about to light my lantern? Light it. Light it. I'm ready. Ha ha ha! Moving as fast as I am capable, I place a lit match inside the lantern and the oil catches fire. As the flame grows, I can hear the awful footsteps behind me begin to peter out. I steal a glance behind me. It has truly stopped. The return of light seems to catch it off guard, and thankfully it declines coming closer. I'm happy sauce now. Run! After a moment's reprieve to breathe, I rush forward once more. Fighting isn't an option, and I need to get away from that monster. I am not able to run fast enough, however. I'm not? I let out a loud scream as the prowler latches onto my body from behind. And I still didn't save, so I'm going to have to do the Skippy thing all over again. Mother... I'm thrown to the ground again. Yeah, again. The shock is great and the lantern slips from my hand, skidding across the bridge out of my reach. Why do I keep on making mistakes? Because it came in contact with the light, the prowler drops itself back into the depths without attacking again. Oh. No, there's no time to feel relieved. Arms of other Nixie emerge from the water and reach up the side of the bridge, scraping the boards as they try to get to me. You're going to make me do something really fast. I try to climb up onto my feet, but one of the creatures takes hold of me before I can properly stand. I'm dragged back down to the ground, my jaw smacking hard against the bridge as the Nix blindly pulls me towards the edge. Other slimy, clawed hands grab onto me as I jam my nails hard into a crevice in the bridge. I kick frantically at their silhouettes, but they keep pulling me closer to the edge. I curl my fingers around the uneven wood tighter. Despite all my effort, there is no support. My bloody, splintered fingers come loose. This is the death again. Water engulfs my vision, heavy and cold, so thick I can't even hear my own thrashing. I try to grab my sword. I can't. Something grabs my arms, then my waist. I'm dead. I'm dead. Can I go back in here? Can I, like, go back? Guess not. Load. Remind me that I must say... Yes, load this file. Okay. I'm special. So we're going to do our skipping. You know what? Bemel, wait. I speak too softly for Bemel to hear. Lingering for only a moment, I start following the trail Bem took. It doesn't take him long to notice I'm there, and he slows his pace so I can easily catch up. We fall into step for a short while, neither of us speaking. Eventually, we come to a thick stand of trees and wordlessly weave our way through the branches. I'm just choosing a different path because it seems the path that Stop that. The path that I keep taking ends in death. It ends in death. So when, don't keep trying to do a stupid thing if it ends in death. We fall into step for a short while. Oh, I read that. Once we're hidden by the foliage, Bim leans against a tree trunk, head hung low. He needs a hug. Give him a hug, Kika. You guys could just cuddle. Negativity radiates off of him, but I don't know what I should say. Fortunately, he breaks the silence.
I apologize for back there.
It's okay. I know you're upset. I nod firmly. His reply isn't unexpected. For as long as I have known Bim, he has had a tendency to let his temper flare, then regret it later, after processing his thoughts.
I know that dealing with these sorts of situations calmly is part of the job, but I cannot tell myself everything is fine or that none of it matters. Sure, I can feel something without it being anger, but I've not figured that out either.
Rather than speak, I try to listen as supportively as I can, while Bim continues to argue with himself. He sighs while pensively rubbing the bridge of his nose.
Am I simply being foolish? Would it really have been so harmful to try and help someone else instead of focusing solely on oneself? It looks to me like we're telling ourselves these lines to avoid responsibility.
Kind of, I think. No. Wait a minute. I'm not blaming myself for Margaret or Lou.
I don't know. It's possible you helping would have worked better. It's also possible it would have been worse.
I still blame the guide. These are things he could have told you beforehand. Bim stares across the empty waters of Sinlos.
I want it to be clear that I have not forgotten that those people across this lake are depending upon us. Not for a moment. But would they want us to be so focused on them that we should turn a blind eye to others right in front of us?
Oh, that's the many outweighs the few type of thought, and I'm kind of like, you can't choose what people do, and the people that died could have made better choices. I'm still okay, I'm not going to say it again.
Even if they would, does that matter? We are more than weapons, we are people. Do we have to cast that aside, turn away from our fellow humans, just to achieve a so-called greater good?
There's more to it, Bim.
It is not as though this village is a haven of saints. They are only as worthwhile as we are, and these people on the bridges with us, aren't they?
Bim, you're not taking into account personal actions of these people.
I don't know.
Kika, you know. You and me are connected. You are I and I am you. You are I. Yeah, anyway. I can feel the weight of his words settle upon me. I have had similar thoughts and have questioned what the correct choice is, but unlike Bim, I have always been silent. I clench my fists tight and try to stop from saying something rash. No, say something rash, Kika. Be me. Say something rash. Bim closes his eyes tight and rubs his face again. It is clear this hasn't been enough to give him much peace. Eventually, his eyes reopen and look directly into mine.
What do you think about all this, Kika? Please, be honest with me. I want to hear it.
Ooh, can I choose the choice of they made their own choices, their own decisions, and that's why they're dead? Suddenly, my eyes are hot. My vision blurs slightly from tears I desperately am trying to hold back.
I really don't know. That is the truth.
I mean, if I was in that situation, I would have tried everything to get them to do something better than what they were doing. Truly. But, and I would be messed up about it, but you cannot blame yourself for this. You can't. My words are soft. Whether he heard or not, the look on my face is enough to garner attention. His eyebrows shoot up in surprise. He walks over to me slowly, concerned.
Kika, what is troubling you?
I don't have the answers to what you were wondering. Who are we meant to protect? Everyone we can? Whoever we're told to serve and no one else? Just ourselves? Should we only try to protect others when the risk is minimal?
You're a soldier. You follow orders. Unless the orders are just absolutely screwed up. And you did try.
I have no idea what the right option is.
Bim's confusion only mounts with my words.
I am sorry for disappointing you.
I'm sorry, Bim.
No, you haven't disappointed me in any way. I never should have expected someone else to give me answers to those kinds of questions. It is only... I did not think that...
He does not finish his thought, but I know what he meant to say.
You did not think I was concerned with these issues?
What am I, a robot? He smiles awkwardly over being caught.
Yes. You never seemed to be bothered by anything we experienced before now.
Some of us hold our feelings in until they explode. I've learned to try not to do that. I still do that sometimes because I know that I'm blunt, and so either I'm silent and holding it in, or I'm exploding all over the place because it feels better. Honesty. It is the best policy. With his words, my carefully held resolve crumbles. In an instant, my cheeks are wet with hot fluid cooling in the chill air as it slips down my face.
I have always cared. I've always been afraid and confused, but I have kept up a...
I stop and gasp for air, my throat almost as tight as when we were running on the bridges.
a farce of strength in order to get by.
You know, this is hitting me some type of way. I'm sorry. Because, yeah, I feel the same. I've always kept up a farce of strength to get by most of my life, and especially when I was in the military. And then with chronic pain and depression and anxiety all, you know, just climbing up on me and destroying me physically and mentally. Holy crap. Again, this game is making me feel some type of way because I feel like that a lot of times. I'm feeling Kika's feelings. I'm empathetic to what she's feeling. And I know if I was in that moment with her, if I was her actually, this is exactly what would be happening to me right now. My facade cracking. I breathe deeply with relief, terrified and lightheaded from my confession. Oh, does confessing feel good? Bim's voice is as delicate as flower petals.
I had no idea. How could I not have noticed?
Because we're good at putting up facades. Others don't notice.
Because I did whatever I could to make sure no one did. I have never wished to appear weak in front of others. But the truth is, I barely get through each day. I often feel overwhelmed with sadness at all that we have experienced.
Wow. This whole little paragraph that she just said, I could put that on the wall and say it is a quote by me. Wow. Bim gently places his hands on my shoulders as I try not to sob wildly. I'm very glad I came back to this part and changed my mind.
Kika, I truly apologize for all the thoughtless things I have said to you.
I shake my head, sniffling.
There is no need for you to apologize.
He smiles, the warmth almost enough to make me forget the damp.
I beg to differ. I have failed to treat you right.
You have always been respectful.
A person needs more than respect from their comrades. They also need support. I have never given you that kind of consideration because I believed someone like you did not need it.
Yeah. I've had friends tell me something like that. They're like, but you're super strong. Yeah. I put on a great facade.
The same could be said for me.
Nonsense. You have listened to my rambling on more occasions than I can remember. Though I admit my memories may not be there due to being drunk many of those times.
Ben laughs at himself while glancing in my direction to encourage me to do the same. His comforting words make me smile, and I feel my tears finally cease to fall. Now hug and kiss. I will continue to support you. He grins wider than he has since we began this horrible journey.
You have my thanks.
And you have mine.
Abruptly, his expression becomes serious once more.
I will come to answer these questions someday. But no matter what I decide, I will still put trust in your judgment.
Thank you. I fear I may not live up to the belief he seems to have in me, but I nod firmly. I'm not going to say it again. I'm sorry. I repeat myself, but it's just like I'm feeling like I know this is a fantasy game about some weird water, some weird lake that is got demons in it, but I am completely like, this is like the situation I've been going through in life. I guess my lake of voices is my depression. And Bim reminds me of the friends and family that have been trying to support me once they knew how I really felt. He returns my nod.
Perhaps we should go check how everything is on the island.
That sounds like an excellent idea. And I will accompany you, of course.
Yes, let's get out of this deep discussion that is completely messing up my head right now. I'm like, yeah. Let's get out of the deep discussion. Let's get back to the action and see if I'm going to get dragged off the bridge again. I'm going to save. Empty slot. Here we go. Okay. Together, we walk back towards the interior of the island. Both our moods lift as we stay side by side. Bim and I head through the wooded part of the island. There isn't anything that could be called a path, but we manage to pick our way through the bush quite well. Through a thinner stand of trees, we briefly catch sight of the guide standing on one of the beaches. He seems fine, but even though I'm sure he turned his head toward me, he makes no show of acknowledging us. I don't trust you. I think you're why I died so many times following your lead. It takes less time than I would have hoped for us to see all that there is on the isolated place. Now we will have to spend time simply waiting, a far more unpleasant task. We seat ourselves underneath a large tree at the meeting point. There's no sign of the sun setting, and I find myself becoming increasingly restless. I release a breath. I've yet to shake the dark and troubling thoughts coursing through my mind. A pat on my back grants me a moment's reprieve. It is truly just the two of us. Deep sorrow stirs inside me at that thought. However, having Bim here with me gives at least some comfort. I lean against his shoulder, and he doesn't move to stop me. We sit quietly as we wait for the sun to descend from the sky. There we go. Like I said, wait it out and cuddle. The sky turns orange as sunset comes upon us. As the color seems to drain from the world, being consumed by the fog, the guide makes his appearance.
It's almost time.
I nod and feel myself grow tense. We truly are about to return to those bridges. All of us wait in an uncomfortable silence until night falls. Night settles like a shroud over the land, every inch of the world now covered in unrelenting darkness. Suddenly, there is a gurgling. The water parts as the bridges of Sinlos rise, powered by some unnatural force, creaking like they might fall apart. I feel an inexplicable pounding like a hammer in the back of my head, beating faster and heavier than my own heart. I clench my teeth to stop it from churning my stomach.
We must go now.
The guide doesn't wait for any replies, briskly starting in the direction of the shore. Bim and I match his pace. I can feel the air weighing on us, a sensation that slows our steps despite being rested. Something hovers in my mind, the mirror memory of beginning of last night's journey. So is this going to be the same? One day ago feels like a lifetime passed. The thick inky water sloshes reluctantly off the boards, bleeding back into the lake until it finally stills. A shudder crawls over my body as I place my foot on the boards, but I quickly shake it off. I have no other option. We have to go through this again. No. Yes, because I remember this sentence. All tense as day-old corpses, we walk over the bridges in silence. The only sound that accompanies us is the thick lapping of the water at the bridge. Bim stays close by my side with a sour expression on his face. He evidently has little interest in masking his disgust. He murmurs something beneath his breath, but it's inaudible. Here we go. I decide not to ask about it. It wasn't meant for me to hear. It feels as though barely any time has passed when it is explained that half the night has crept by. We encountered a few sunken bridges that forced us to reroute, while other paths were rotten enough to make us stagger our steps. However, why I stopped being able to talk. I'm sorry. I have big lips. I have to work around them. However, the biggest threat of all is eerily absent, the prowlers. I haven't seen more than shadowy glimpses of them down other paths, and even those may have simply been tricks of the fog. I feel I may be even more on edge tonight than the last. Yes, because you know what's coming. Judging by Bim's. Why, author, did you make this name? Ugh. Judging by Bim's tenseness, he isn't set at ease by their lack of presence either.
Why?
I whisper the question softly, almost silently as I scan left and right across the impossibly empty bridges for any sign of movement. I ponder whether they're still weary from the consuming blaze that lit up the night yesterday, or if they are less dragging themselves across the bridges than usual because many have already gotten what they wanted. My skin crawls with the touch of icy fingers at the thought, and I can't control the sharp shiver that travels down my spine. Bim catches my concern, and he brings himself closer to my ear.
This isn't right. It shouldn't be nearly this easy to cross. Not after what we went through the other night.
Yeah,
Could they be planning something?
it's the guide. It's a guide. It's a guide. Bim lightly shakes his head. He speaks with suspicion in his voice as he peers at the guide ahead.
I don't know.
I don't know either. No, I do know it's the guide. As time passes by, we continue to see nothing but more bridges and fog. Beside me, Bim is becoming more and more agitated the longer we go without disruption. I can read Bim well enough to know that his anger is still directed at the guide rather than the bridges themselves. It was my hope that he would be able to contain his feelings towards our lead until we had put this maze behind us. Huh. Ha. That is becoming unlikely. Oh yeah. I resolve to step in before he grows too heated, and there is yet another hazardous argument.
Your concentration is clouded, Bamele. What is troubling you?
Surely you're already aware. It's him.
Bim glowers hatefully at the guide. I purse my lips for a moment before continuing, resigned.
I do know that. However, you need to stop allowing that to consume you, or else you could get hurt. Or even...
Bim releases an exasperated sigh while crossly folding his arms.
That is impossible. I can't stop myself from thinking about it. Everything makes so much sense now.
What do you mean by that?
Recall yesterday. I asked him why he would lead others at all if he was heartlessly going to leave them behind. What if this is the reason? Before, we could scarcely escape these monsters, and now I can't even hear a whisper of one. What if they're already satisfied with what they've taken?
My eyes widen and I stifle a gasp. The situation at hand giving both of us a reason to think on the possibility. But I didn't press that. You stop that. Where was I? That just messed me up. Okay. The situation at hand giving both of us a reason to think on that possibility is absolutely unsettling, but his conclusion is even worse still. The notion of the guide allowing others to die unnecessarily on purpose to make it less dangerous for the remaining few, that is not something I was prepared for.
Even back when we started, the first time we met the guide, he mentioned that at least one of us would die before the journey was finished. Didn't that exchange seem strange to you? He said it as though it was a price to pay for coming with him.
Yep.
The guide is free to do as he pleases. He can and will threaten to leave the entire group behind at so much as a hint of resistance. Nothing is stopping him. He knew this was going to happen. He had to know.
I take a few moments to breathe. Despite the danger, I only barely resist shutting my eyes against the world.
We need to make it to the other side. We must keep moving forward and survive. The guide is our only way across.
My usual reply to Bim's worries does not make an impression. His eyes are not swayed. He continues to stare into me.
I am saying he cannot be trusted with our lives at this very moment. I need an answer to that, Kika. What do you really think?
I think I don't trust him. Okay, I know I'm going to have to answer this, and I know last time I said we just need to get out of here. I think I should still go with that. Maybe. Oh my gosh, why is this so hard? I just don't want to die again. I don't want to get separated. I don't want to die. Okay, I may choose differently. Let's see what options I have. Can I just say nothing? Is that bad? I try to firmly ignore Bim's emotional conclusions. However, I fail to. Something doesn't seem right about any of this. I can tell that something is off, but I'm not sure what it is. Oh, yes. That's yes. Something is off. Though there's no way to be sure Bim is completely correct, I can't help but feel that we should be suspicious. Yes, 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 this is my answer much more than the other one. Bim takes my lack of response as confirmation enough, much to my relief. Feeling as though I am on his side has made him more focused. He keeps silent and does not push the topic further. Yes, thank you. Our progress continues steadily, and we still encounter no significant difficulties.
How much longer until we reach the other side? We've traveled quite a ways.
Yes, we have. Bim's quiet breaking question doesn't sound particularly enthused. I mean, who would be happy at this moment? Unless you have gallows humor.
It should only be another couple of hours.
Huh.
Bim is unconvinced. It is not only I who notices. The guide suddenly stops. Eerily, he turns his head to the side and looks back at us.
Is there a problem with that?
Yes, there is a problem.
Is there?
We progressed through the bridges at a much quicker clip this time. Bim's question was not idle curiosity. He was confirming that fact for himself. I should have known. The guide looks to be slightly irritated over the attitude Bim has taken.
If you have something to say, you should say it. Unless you're afraid that I'm going to leave you behind.
His statement lands heavily on us. Did he listen to our conversation? There were no sounds to cover our voices. However, I had assumed we were far enough away from the guide to keep our words to ourselves. He stares with such an icy expression I nearly freeze in place. Bim, on the other hand, heats up and grows more hostile. He leaves my side to rush into the guide's flickering light. It's about to happen. I'm about to be separated still.
Don't.
This is going much too far. I urge him to come back. He ignores me and takes a stand facing the guide.
Am I right? Are you going to leave us behind after what I've done?
The guide isn't bothered at all by Bim entering his space. He gives a level answer.
No.
Well, that's grand. In that case, I'd like to know if I'm on the right track about something else. Are the monsters missing because they've already eaten? Or is there some other reason why they've all mysteriously vanished?
Yeah. The guide pauses for a moment. His eyes close and he becomes completely still.
It's possible.
Bim glares at the guide over the admittance. It's as though he heard nothing after the first line the guide spoke. The guide is unfazed.
If you enter these bridges, all you should expect is death. That is no secret. You need to stop putting so much energy into finding meaning, or else you will end up like the others.
Bim ends up speechless, caught off guard by the guide openly discussing his accusation. The guide continues at Bimel's silence. Bimily, Bim. Annoyance leaking into his voice.
You think that the results would have been different if only I had said more or did something differently. But that is not true. The conclusion would be exactly the same. If Lou hadn't died when he did, he would have been lost at some other point during the trip.
But you don't even know that he died. I mean, yes, he's most likely dead, but still, he's dead.
Lou?
Yes, Lou was his name. I had spoken with him in the past. He wanted to cross the bridges. I had deemed him unfit. He was far too desperate and unprepared. There's no helping someone like that.
The guide sounds even more agitated as he elaborates. Bim seems to be finished with being surprised. His anger reignites.
If that's all well and true, why haven't you died yet? How is it that you've been able to cross these horrendous bridges over and over again without suffering the same consequences as everyone else?
The guide's face twists into a vicious snarl. He shouts,
I have died!
What does that mean? See, I would have been like, pause. What does that even mean?
I have no life to give. Everything I am, everything I could have been, was surrendered to this lake. That is the only reason why I am able to stand before you now. I can show you the way, and I can give you advice on how to survive the perils you will face. That is all I'm able to offer.
But you didn't really give any advice. Not really. I mean, you're giving advice like right at the moment when people might die.
Is that not enough for you? What else do you want from me?
Extra lanterns.
Kindness, sympathy. It's been far too many years since I was capable of giving anything like that.
He finally stops to catch his breath, though the emotion in his eyes still shines intently. There's no response from either of us. Somebody should have clapped back at him. An agonizing silence permeates the air. No one dares to even move. The tension is cut as the boards beneath me start to creak. My eyes dart down. The bridge is sinking. Rapidly, Instinctively, I jump backwards, but the new section of bridge groans horribly as it too starts to tilt into the water. They keep getting farther and farther away, with each disappearing platform I move off of. I don't understand when Bim moved forward, you should have moved forward too. I don't understand why you're not, staying close together, because stupid things like this happen.
Kika!
I look up at Bim's call. My chest tightens when I see him and the guide on what has become the other side of a small chasm. I leap back just in time as the bridge under me snaps like a twig. Glancing over again, they keep getting farther and farther away with each disappearing platform I move off of. Dread creeps up my neck, and I nearly lose my footing once I realize what's happening. Desperately stumbling backwards, I finally manage to regain my balance. I use this to leap far enough back that the bridge I land on doesn't immediately start to fall apart under my weight. In another 3 swift steps, I am finally on sturdy wood. The bridge reluctantly stops, shifting and settle. The only trace left of what was once a huge section of bridge is a few splintered boards floating in the murky water. The lake consumed it. Somehow I am not surprised. Regaining my bearings, I face what has become of my circumstances. I am now separated from Bim and the guide by far wider gorge than anyone could leap. My throat goes bone dry as I teeter at the end of the bridge, mind wildly scrambling for a solution that doesn't come. I lock onto Bim's face. He's completely aghast, darting from one side of the bridge to the other like a panicked animal. There is no mistaking that he's desperate to help me in some way. However, there's also no mistaking that there aren't any options available to him. He turns to the guide with pleading eyes, all his earlier hostility sunken with the bridges. I am too far off to grasp what Bim is asking, but I get the impression he is seeing if there's another way. The guide turns to me. He's completely cooled down from the earlier interaction, back to his same placid expression. He focuses back on Bim, who has now gripped him by the cloak. The guide says one word. Judging from the look of pure terror on Bim's face, I can only assume it was no. There's no way back to them. The guide frees himself from Bim's grasp and continues speaking. Bim still seems horribly shaken at his words. I can barely see from here, but I think he's quivering. As I watch the two discuss my fate, unable to say anything, fear starts to crawl over me. My arms run cool to cold to freezing. It's not long before the rest of my body follows. I notice Bim cover his face with his still shuddering hand. The guide's voice echoes loudly across the water, separating me from them.
Go back and take the next bridge you come across that goes west. There may be enough time for you to find your own way.
I'm saving right now. Over this file. Yes. I blink, taken aback for a moment, before I quickly regain my composure. That's right. This isn't over. I still have my lantern with me. The prowlers are less active, and if the guide says that it's possible, it could be true. I nod solemnly at his words and yell back.
I'll meet you there. Don't wait for me.
He bows his head and starts to slowly back away from the edge. Bim pulls his head from his hand to look at me. Even across the water, I can tell that he's crying. I detest the idea of having to part ways with Bim. However, I know that there's no other way. I smile forlornly at him as the wind whips against my back. I speak softly.
You need to go.
There's no way he could have heard me, yet I'm confident that the sentiment got across. I spin on my heels and run back the way we came, searching for the bridge the guide said to take. I can only hope that we'll all safely unite before this night ends. I spare a brief glance behind me. However, there's not a trace of them or even the dead end I was stranded at. With a painful contracting of my heart, I realize that I am truly alone now. And I don't know if I'm going to follow what the guide says this time. I kind of don't trust him. I might be about to die. Quickly, I shake off that thought and refocus my attention on what's in front of me. I think I should save again. Isn't something about an option about to come up? The first branching of the path comes into reach. I skid into a full stop in front of it. The path west is as dark and desolate as every bridge. It's impossible to see what's down that twisting way. The previous conversation comes floating back to me. Now that I am here, I must face that concern. Is the guide reliable? Can he be trusted? I don't trust him. I had to leave so that they could go on without being weighed down. That I don't regret. However, I can't help but wonder if the guide couldn't give me a proper suggestion because of the sinking bridges. Sorry. A mistake could have been made. Yeah. We're going to choose not to follow him because he just doesn't seem like he knows or doesn't care. It is also possible he knowingly gave false hope to keep the situation calm, or perhaps he intentionally set me to the wrong path because it would be easier for them if I did not make it. Yeah, I don't know. I look between the pathways. Based on my direction, it does seem as though other options could potentially connect me to them before the west does. Yet I cannot possibly know until I move forward. I need to make a decision. Here's the decision. Go another way. I take a deep, shaky breath and nod to myself. Despite my unease at going into the unknown, I make my way down another bridge instead, one that looks like it could lead in the direction I'm meant to be heading. Oh, let's see here. I walk at a moderately brisk pace, not wanting to risk tripping or running out of energy in a moment where I need it. If the eeriness of the lake was disconcerting before, now it is overwhelming. The blizzard-like fog drifting over the waters limits my vision to the span of my arms. Oh, that's no good. The utter silence was a comfort, despite how otherworldly it felt. But the whispering of the lake has started to stir now. I gulp despite myself. They've noticed me. As their chattering grows, I consider briefly if the others hear them as well, or if they have come out specifically because I am on my own. I straighten my back and walk more surely. I cannot let them believe I am an easy target. I even consider keeping my sword in hand, but it doesn't seem entirely likely that they would realize it is something that could hurt them. To keep my mind from wandering into dark places, I count my steps like we used to in training. 1, 2, 3, 4. Despite my best efforts, things are starting to get to me. My worries wash over me, causing painful twinges underneath my clothes that make me jerk and twitch like a fly-bitten horse. The whispering in human voices, the feeling of vulnerability, the horrible thought of being hopelessly lost all melded together is consuming me. My pace breaks from the steady rhythm of my counting set. It quickens more as I start to succumb to fear. Well, this sounds like I'm going down the same path that killed me before. My brisk steps turn into long, frantic strides. Something in me whispers, "Faster, go faster, don't let them catch you," and I listen. I break into a run. Like moving on landmines, flashes of fear explode in my mind and drive my feet harder, faster, stronger. I've got Kanye West and what's their name? My mind just went blank. Harder, faster, stronger. Yeah. Until suddenly my sense of reason returns and I stop dead. My chest rises and falls with deep heaving breaths as I try to calm myself down. The monsters erupt into an inharmonious chorus of what sounds to be wicked laughs. I feel like we've been here before. We have. I fight the urge to shout back at the creatures. This feels like a nightmare I will never wake up from. I take another breath and resume my measured progress. It's difficult to tell how much time has passed. It must be at least an hour, judging by how much energy I've expended. Since I recomposed myself, I have not stopped walking for a second. Despite how much time has worn on, the route still feels like an endless abyss. Oh, it sounds so gushy. I don't remember hearing it last time, but now I can hear the gushiness. Then I hear a noise which causes a shuddering chill to creep down my spine. An uneven clicking followed by a squelching sound. It's a prowler. I immediately turn to look behind me. There's nothing. I breathe out, relieved. My ears search for the source of the noise, but with all the babble the Nixie are making, the direction is clouded. I strain my ears. That's it. The noise is drifting slowly from one of the connecting paths up ahead. I can faintly tell the noise is drawing nearer. Okay, we're gonna make a run for it. The prowler has not yet arrived, but soon its path will intercept with my own. I will not wait for it to reveal itself, leaving me two options. I can run past the bridge connection to get ahead of it, or I turn back to find a new path to take. I'm saving. Okay, guys, this is how I die. Again. I have faith that following the same path I've been in is for the best. I still myself and build up speed. I get closer and closer to the branch with the lurking threat and pick up my pace so I'm sprinting. I hear a gurgling hiss as I pass through the crossroad. It must have been close enough to be pained by the light. I barely make it. However, I didn't hear any splash. It is still nearby. I look behind me to see if it at least decided to come no further. Horrified, I realize that it's pointedly following me. It is no longer mindlessly dragging itself through the blackness. I have become its target. Is the bridge about to go out again? I went another path. I chose another path. I didn't go the way that the guide told me to. Why is this happening all over again? Okay, sorry. Just had to whine a bit. Its limbs bend wildly and unnaturally. It looks as though it is only barely keeping itself upright as its torso wobbles on its hips. That isn't stopping it from giving chase. I focus my view back ahead and continue to run. My breathing rapidly becomes ragged. I can still hear the squishing footsteps of the prowler behind me as it lunges its body forward in that unnatural gait. You know, if you had your sword, couldn't you, like, trip him? Okay, that's just a thought. Without warning, the bridge lurches to one side, daggone it. Catching me completely off guard, I lose my footing and slam onto the damp surface of the bridge. My light falls with me, painfully snuffing out. I'm still gonna die somehow. Somehow I'm still gonna die. I cannot choose this route. That's all it is. I can't choose this route or I die. Mother trucker. Splashes and the excited stirring of many voices come from the lake. How? Why? Is it rotting? Or did they push the support beams? I'm left with no time to ponder the mystery as the monster draws near. I scramble back onto my feet as it closes in. And yes, I'm gonna light my daggone lantern super fast. Grabbing my dark lantern, I resume running to put some space between us again. I open the latch on the lantern and pull out a match. I have to slow down, at least briefly, to properly light the flame without it blowing out. With death still on my heels, I must not let one precious moment be wasted. Set on my plan and with everything in hand, I begin to decrease my pace. I light that lantern. Fast. You saw me do it. Moving as fast as I am capable, I place a lit match inside the lantern and the oil catches fire. As the flame grows, I can hear the awful footsteps behind me begin to peter out. But something else killed me last time, and yes, my memory is that bad that I forgot what's about to happen. I steal a glance behind me. It has truly stopped. The return of the light seems to catch it off guard, and thankfully it declines coming closer. Then what happens to me? I really can't remember. I just know I died again. Yes, over this file. I think. I can't remember which ones I've saved now. Oh, God. I'm about to die again. Stare it down? I managed to calm my mind down from the commotion and recall what the guide said when we first encountered a prowler. You don't have to run or fight. You only need to keep moving while keeping an eye on it. Oh. Oh, is this going to keep me alive because I'm not running? I can't keep on running forever, and doing so only seemed to invigorate them further. Oh, they like their prey running. Ew. I fix my stare on it forcefully as the creature recoils from my relit lantern. Bodies don't work that way. It's like its torso is backwards. Moving at a steady but brisk pace, I continue forward, making sure to check behind me often. It creeps at a distance, however the thing makes no more dramatic attempts to engage with me, choosing only to lurk. I'm set on edge by its presence, but in a way it's strangely beneficial. It makes it harder to get lost within my own mind when the tension in the air is so high. Yeah. Reaffirming my goals, I go down bridge after bridge, making my way to what I can only hope is the way out. Eventually, the prowler halts at the precipice of one of the branches. Frustrated, it paces back and forth on the border as though something is physically stopping it from going further. I know you guys probably think I'm weird. I'm saving again. Yes. I decide to take that as a good omen. Well, let's see. What are prowlers scared of? As I walk alone longer, still in this purgatory, the worries that have been plaguing my heart become muted. Instead, a new fear grips me, the truth that I am becoming comfortable with the notion that there isn't an end to this. This is the song that never ends. Yes, it goes on and on, my friends. Okay, I'm sorry. I must stop myself from quietly accepting such a fate. I grip the handle of my lantern tightly and grit my teeth. Various thoughts come in and out of the front of my mind as I fight to remain focused on the path ahead. Yeah, I would have been all in my head, singing songs to myself. Memories of my birth home, my wolf dogs, Adali and Edelina. Can we have like one normal name? Like Jack. The others who may still be somewhere out on these bridges, the moment we were separated, the looks on their faces the last time I saw them. While going over it, I asked myself if I should have tried to go back to the island and waited for the guide to return there on another journey. That's what I said. Why not? My supplies would have been tight. However, I'm sure I would have been able to stretch them. Why didn't I think of that at the time? I could have recalled the way we went so far and made it back to solid ground. Why didn't you think of that, Kika? Why? I shake my head. I shouldn't scold myself over things which cannot be changed, because Dark Cheshire will scold for you. It is possible the guide won't be returning to the island for many days. Yeah, what did you guys eat that whole day? And there are many other choices I could have made that would have kept me from being in this position. All I can do is remain steadfast. That is my title, after all. Suddenly, I realize through the fog the black sky is turning dark blue. Dawn is beginning to rise. Oh, no. 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 Because if you're on the bridge, when the light comes up, you're going to die. Right, Oreo? Sorry, my cat says, yes, you're going to die. I think she's done with her high. At this point, there's no use in keeping up my strength. What? You're just giving up? I sprint down the bridge, going faster and faster as I hold out for some sort of sign, anything. Eventually, I receive one. The silhouette of land peeks into my field of vision. I can scarcely believe it as I blink away the tears. Run, Forrest. With renewed spirit, I press down the bridge with increased speed, desperately trying to outpace the sun. You can do it. The glowing orb peeks into view against the obscured sky and begins to ascend unfeelingly. With each step, the sky brightens ever so slightly more. Sprint like your life depends on it. I race through the oppressive fog and the bridge beneath me goes no further. Just a hard drop off into the lake. It's a dead frickin' end. I nearly collapse against the wood, the awful sight knocking the breath right out of me. I can see the shore clearer than ever, sitting on the horizon out of reach. And you can't swim in stuff because... My legs wobble again and fully give out beneath me. I hang my head, unable to look ahead at the beautiful sunrise outlining the island. Begrudgingly, my body heavy and lifeless as marble, I stand and turn around the way I came. Deep inside, I know that there is no hope of getting on the correct bridge and reaching the shore before it's too late. But I don't care. I'm going to keep going. After too many drinks, some fellow guards talked about wanting to die fighting. I never thought about it before because I didn't want to, but now I know what I want to be doing when I die. I want to be going forward. Running against all hope that I will ever be safe again, running in defiance, running to find my way back to those who need me. So I do. I sprint as the sky becomes red and the darkness recedes. I cry unreservedly for the first time. At least in this moment, I do not have to fear that the weakness inside me will undo all my efforts. It is already too late. My legs pound against the boards almost as forcefully as my heart beats. I shouldn't be surprised, but I am when the bridges creak and clank together. My tears come faster, but I keep running across the treacherous bridges, even as the thin lines of water start to trickle across the sinking boards. This is really upsetting me now. Suddenly, I can't run anymore. As if to mock me, the bridge ahead falls away, leaving me at another dead end. I halt. My face is wet as my drenched feet. I stare into the sun, my eyes going bleary and star-crossed from the burning light. I hope the others are not here. I wish that they found the other side, that they are able to live, to have happy, long lives. The bridges sink rapidly now, jolting me into the cold black lake. I try to tread water, but my armor weighs me down in this dense fluid. Inevitably, my strength is quickly sapped away. I don't sink so much as plummet down into the lake. The desperate fighting burning in my lungs takes a few minutes to subside. Then I slip into unfeeling nothingness. Achievement unlocked. Distance. Basically, it's how many ways can I die, isn't it? That's what this is. It's how many ways can I die. No.